What up, guys? James from Bolt Bros here. Want to go over the victory over the Broncos, the 23-16 win over the Broncos for the Chargers. Victory Monday for all of us Chargers fans out there. Secret, I did also eat some brisket the day before the game. So maybe that's the secret, guys. Eat the victory brisket, get a win the next day, guys. So let's just go ahead and get into the recap real quick of the game, and plus a little bit of a preview of the Cardinals game coming up for Monday Night Football in Arizona, where I'm at. So once again, guys, James from Bolt Bros. Let's go. Bolt Bros. Once again, guys, appreciate all the love and support. Please like this video, subscribe to this channel if you've not. We give you guys daily to weekly updates on the Chargers constantly, and we constantly love to be able to talk more about the Chargers often and daily for you. So appreciate all the support and love, and throw some comments in below about this video too, and about the victory over the Broncos on Sunday. So once again, guys, really great game. Bottom line, the way I viewed it, we won the game in 3 quarters. Fourth quarter was a little shaky, but the 16 points that the Broncos essentially got was kind of junk scores, junk stats, all that, nothing too major to be able to kind of be aware of. The score truly wasn't how close the game was. The game was over with when we were 23-0 at that point. Chargers pretty much had this thing in the bag. I wasn't worried one bit. Did not have one bead of sweat at all coming off my forehead by any means. So bottom line, we had some really good players throughout the game. Players that stepped up and did extremely well. Here's just kind of what PFF kind of pointed out some players here. Khalil Mack, 90.5 PFF rating. I mean, he had a forced fumble. He had a lot of pressure throughout the game. Guys, just an absolute rock for us. Love having Khalil Mack on this team, and definitely is one of our stable players on our edge room. Rashawn Slater came back even with the pectoral issue and still had a phenomenal game. 82 rating from PFF. Elijah Molden with the pick right from the get-go of the game. 76.1. Quentin Johnston, 74.8. A little shocked on that one, to be honest. It's not like Quentin had like this lights-out game by any means, even went out with an injury. I assume kind of where this is going to be coming from a little bit more with those stats is probably a bit more blocking side of things. I mean, he only had 1 carry for 0 yards, 3 catches for 22. So either which way, kind of a little bit of shock to be able to see Quentin Johnston there at 74.8 as our 4th highest player rated for the Chargers. Now, Zion Johnson, 71.2. You got to love seeing, once again, the weapons at the O-line, just like what Jim Harbaugh has preached forever. O-line is a weapon, by the way. And Zion Johnson had a great game, 71.2. And then Justin Herbert had a 62.9 on there as a PFF rating. And to be honest, I think that's somewhat low, but at the same side, he did have a highly effective game all around. And you got to love seeing Justin Herbert slinging the ball. That once again, that pass to Kamani Vidal for his first catch, first touch in the NFL, gets a touchdown right from the get-go. That was perfectly thrown. Great catch by Kamani Vidal. Even that Simi Fehoko throw was phenomenal. Once again, everybody sees what Justin Herbert does and knows that he's one of the best out there too. You know, even to say a lot of people out there, like Jesse Reeves tweeted out, Justin Herbert is still him. Put the league back on notice. This guy still knows what he's doing. And bottom line, he can sling the ball. And that's one thing I want to see more from this team. Sling the ball. You know you have one of the best quarterbacks in the league. Keep allowing him to cook. Keep allowing him to be a weapon. Do not hold him back. Now, I get it. I understand Justin Herbert has been injured, ankle issue and everything too. I thought he looked pretty good throughout this game. I know his ankle was still bandaged up throughout the game, but guess what? He was still out there slinging it and doing a great job. Accuracy issue was not there by any means. He was still out there doing what he needed to do and basically get the ball out to all of his receivers. He even spread out the ball to so many receivers. He had it out to Simi Fehoko, Ladin McConkey, Kamani Vidal, Josh Palmer, Will Dissly, Quentin Johnson, Stone Smart, Darius Davis, J.K. Dobbins. That is a lot of targets. Very much spread ball that we're going to be throwing the ball around too. Very, very cool to be able to see that. I think it's what, 9 players, if my math is correct there, that he's through to throughout this game. Love to see it. I still want to know, and I would love to hear from you in the comments below. Do you think that we're going to have a over 100-yard receiver at all this season? I mean, right now we have not. We are basically giving guys maybe 3 catches on average, maybe per game. I mean, how spread the ball is out so far this year, it seems like we just might not even have a 100-yard receiver this year. Either which way, bottom line, even to say the interview that Justin Herbert after the game, he said, "Hey, look, man, we got to do what we got to do just to win, and that's all that really matters. The stats don't matter. The keep throwing the ball doesn't matter to him. It's bottom line trying to get the win." And even Justin Herbert in his interview, he talked about how it's like, hey, every game's going to be different. Every game plan is going to be different. We're going to either one, if we see our advantage as throwing the ball, we're going to throw the ball. We see the advantages as controlling the ball through running game, we're going to do that. Constantly keep adjusting and playing different to each team is the idea here. Now, once again, Greg Roman kind of got a lot of heat in the bye week that, hey, man, we got to get this guy out of here. This Yahoo doesn't know what he's doing. He's holding back Justin Herbert. Look, I get it. Greg Roman is definitely a guy that wants to be able to, run the ball. He's a guy that wants to be able to control the clock. Essentially, that's kind of what we tried to do in this game. Kind of got a little bit later in the game where, hey, you should probably try to get a couple first downs and end the game and not make it 16 points. It could have been 7 points or 13 points or whatever it might have been instead of 16. Basically kind of give the defense a little bit of nod saying, hey, you did your job. Let's make sure you don't get scored on anymore. We kind of ran a little bit of Marty ball, if we all remember that back in the 2000s. Kind of control the clock through running game and everything too. I get it. I understand. We still ended up going with a victory formation, which I love to see, and it feels like it's been forever since we sent a victory formation. But bottom line, Greg Roman's going to do his game. He's going to want to play 50-50 ball. He's going to want to throw the ball 50%. He'll want to be able to run the ball 50%. That's just how he works as a coordinator. And if you really kind of see how initially Justin Herbert at some point in the game was actually throwing the ball more than running quite a bit. He started out by throwing the ball a lot. Basically, the first 15 snaps, 12 of them were throws. He really went out there and just slang the ball a ton at the get-go. Now, what does that tell me? Well, I mean, if we need Justin Herbert to throw the ball, he will throw the ball and be very effective with it and get touchdowns and such too. But at the same side, he's going to adjust. Greg Roman, that is, that he'll go backwards a little bit and kind of hold the ball back a bit from throwing the ball so constantly. Now, Justin Herbert did throw the ball 34 times. It's more than he's had, I believe, in all season, more yards than he's ever had this season with 237 yards, 1 touchdown. But also J.K. Dobbins still had 25 carries for 96 yards, 3.8 average, 1 touchdown. Darius Davis, which I love to see that they did a little bit more of a jet sweep situation with him. Kind of change up the way the run game is. And Darius Davis had 2 rushes. Kamani had 4. Hassan Haskins had 2. Justin Herbert had 4, which I don't really consider those like scripted runs by any means. Obviously, some of those were victory formations too. And Quentin Johnston had 1. So we still basically got about 50% of the run, maybe even a little bit more than pass attempts with the runs. But either which way, we still are going to play a 50-50 game. It's about being effective with those throws, more or less. And Justin Herbert was very effective yesterday. And personally, I think we should kind of stay with this program of make Justin Herbert throw the ball a little bit more and make sure it's early on in the game and get him out there and start slinging the ball around. It's just fun to watch, right? Isn't it? It's just fun to watch him out there throwing the ball around. So moving on to our coach, it was a really weird situation at the beginning of the game, right? You had Broncos players going down. You had basically Pat Surtain go down pretty much after the first play. You had Quentin Johnston going out with ankle. You had Ladd McConkey with some situations going on there. There was a lot of situations there. And then you had all of a sudden Jim Harbaugh go out into the locker room. It was really strange. And when I saw that, the first thing I thought of is that I know that Jim Harbaugh's had some heart issues and everything like that. And he has had arrhythmias as an issue in the last few years. Even in his post game, he talked about it back in 99. He had back it with, I think, 2011, or maybe it's 2012 with the Niners. He had a heart procedure when he was with Michigan. So basically in the NFL, he's 2-0 with arrhythmias. So either which way, he still got through it. He still was working through it. I thought he was actually more of like a flu game kind of situation. There was times where they showed him on camera and he seemed kind of like he was breathing like, holy smokes, man, this is tough. But basically what it is his heart condition was elevated. His heartbeat was up to like 250 to 300 beats per minute, which is insane. Basically, they hit him with a magnesium IV bag, lowered his heart rate, got him back to a normal point. I mean, once again, I'm a big fan of IV bags, and I think that's phenomenal that they were able to get that done for him. I assume that's probably something they kind of knew was going to come up, and IV bags are ready to go for him too. So having that magnesium, man, helps just lower your whole stress level quite a bit and lowers your heart rate too. So shout out to the doctors out there making sure that he's okay. And once again, Jim, get better. Go to the cardiologist, check out your heart, make sure things are good and the tickers are working well. So post game with Jim Harbaugh, bottom line, he just kind of felt very much like he could talk about his health for once. Hey, if you guys have been paying attention to how many questions to get asked about health, he ended up saying, hey, he's more than qualified to be able to talk about his own health. So talked about the conditions, talked about the times that he's had issues with it and everything too. But bottom line, as a recap for the game, he just felt like everybody did really well. One thing he did point out too is make sure we got to land those sacks. We had a lot of pressures came from our defense. Obviously, even to say Bud Dupree had two different sacks that could have happened and just slipped off the quarterback. Could even have had a safety on Bo Nix kind of late in the game. Kind of that would have been a big shift to this game and to be able to make sure you kind of solidify this game. Two, we need to be able to find ways to land those sacks. Now, once again, Joey Bosa wasn't out there. Thule, Mac, Bosa, or Dupree were out there still making things happen, but we got to find a way to land more of those sacks. Shout out to Bo Nix a little bit to be able to kind of evade some of those and kind of extend plays and allow the Broncos to have some opportunities. But once again, we got to find ways to get better with that. Now, I'll say this, a lot of those pass rushes were on 4-man rushes. So they had a lot of opportunities to get there with 4-man back or 4-man up on the line and to be able to have a lot more in the backfield too, and a lot more guys in zone-based coverage. I'll say this, having Cam Hart out there too, still, dude, they did a great job. There was a lot of times that Bo Nix had a lot of time to be able to try to throw the ball, and he could not find anybody open. That's a really, really good sign with the guys that we drafted with Tarheeb Still and Cam Hart being out there. They were finding ways to stay on their players and make sure that they were not open and have those kind of off-scripted type throws happen. I think that's a really, really good sign for the Chargers, and it shows a lot more depth with this team. Very, very awesome to be able to see that. So these young guys are even stepping up real quickly for us. And you know what? I think it's going to be a great one kind of moving forward for this team to make sure we finally got depth on this team, guys. So really good recap to this whole game. Glad to be able to get this win. Now, a small preview for the Cardinals game coming up. You know what? I live here in Arizona. I mean, it's not a lot of people are very excited about the Cardinals. They were very excited about the whole pick with Marvin Harrison Jr., who did go out with a concussion in the last game. So we'll see if he does play on Monday night. Thing about the Cardinals in general, it's funny. I remember before this game, or actually before the season, they had the Cardinals beating the Chargers at a -3 for the over and under situation. Now it's flipped to basically the Chargers opening up against this game where they were going to be the under at 2.5 or now. So they're actually the ones that are claimed to be winning this game now. So it's shifted quite a bit as the season has started to progress. Now, with the Cardinals as a team in general, they're kind of a scrappy team. They got in kind of hot at the end of last season when Kyler Murray came back and everything. They started thinking, hey, Cardinals are going to be a team this year. Well, they've been kind of an up and down team this year. So, for instance, week 1, they got 34 points scored on them by the Bills. They scored 28, Cardinals, that is. Next week, then the Cardinals end up beating the Rams 41-10. Big win at home. And then they go play the Lions at home. Lions end up beating them 20-13. Next week, Commanders straight come here to Arizona and just destroy the Cardinals 42-14. Then the following week, the Cardinals beat the Niners 24-23. That was kind of an interesting one. And then this Sunday, then they end up going out to Lambeau and get smoked out there 34-13. It's just a very up and down team. There's not consistency at all there. Now, I could say with the Chargers, we're very, very consistently going to be that team where we will not allow 20 points, and we just need to score more than 20 points to be able to win this game. And I do feel very strongly that we got a great chance with our team to be able to get that dub here in Arizona. So it's going to be exciting times. And once again, guys, Bolt Pride 602, Die Hard Bolt Club, all these crews are going to be out here for the game. And there is going to be a meetup. It's going to be, I think, at Lot F Green at the stadium. All throughout the weekend, there's going to be meetups too in Arizona, Phoenix-based area. So it's going to be a very, very awesome weekend all around to be able to just engage all these Chargers fans. I know Andrew and I will be at some of those meetups. We will be at the game. We're waiting on Kyle still to see if he could make his way down here. It's going to be an awesome time, guys. Once again, and I've been seeing the ticket prices being really cheap for this game. So if you're in the Arizona area, please come out to the game. It's going to be awesome. Tons of Chargers fans are going to be there. Let's take over that stadium with our wonderful Powder Blues. Don't let the Powder Blues fool you, my guys. So once again, guys, appreciate all the love and support. Please like this video, subscribe to this channel if you've not. Slap some comments in below about what you think about the game and also the Cardinals game coming up. So once again, James from Bolt Bros, let's go.
Hey, what's up? Cameron Dick here watching Bolt Bros podcast.